can hardly, swallow. I've got such bad heartburn, it's terrible. Alright. No one needs to know that. Delete. Welcome to Filling in the Gaps.
Probably sure to make it in there now.
Let's talk about Darren's heartburn.
Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Filling in the Gaps. I am Justin.
And I'm Darren.
And today, this is just kind of our year-end wrap, basically. So, and no, we're not going to wrap, but we are just kind of wrapping up the first year, which we've made it a year, Darren.
That's insane. Well, I mean, it's not completely insane, but it's just...
I think that you doubted we could make it this far.
No, I didn't think you would have any problem with it. I thought that I would.
Well, I just say we.
Because, as you know, I'm a very lazy person.
But we have made, at this point, 26 episodes, and we have made it through our first year. So congratulations, and thank you for joining in.
Yeah.
But it's not really for us to thank each other that we're making the episode. It's more to thank you out there, you brave few who have joined in, who've listened in, and possibly shared the podcast with somebody you know. Thank you for listening in.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's great to see people comment on stuff and take part. And, you know, there's not many people doing that, but when you do, it makes me really happy. Thanks.
And, you know, it's that first year, it's nice to know that we are not being completely unnoticed. You know, it's amazing to grow from 0 to 1 and then even up to the 20-some listeners we have on the different platforms we have. It is really something. And so thank you very much. If you like the show and you think you know someone who might like to listen in as well, by all means, share it. I think that at this point is our best chance for growing a bit bigger and finding our audience, more audience. So that's kind of my plug for please help us out. But that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, we do have some other things in the works. Things, you know, long term that I'd like to be working on, things like maybe going official with a Patreon or something along that lines, maybe having an official website, things that I'll have to work on and may take a bit of time before they get there. But we want you to know that we're serious about this, that we want to keep doing this, essentially. Along with that, we do have an announcement of something that we do have ready, or mostly ready, and that will be a new podcast that will essentially be every other week, much like Filling in the Gaps, except we're going to be filling in the gaps in our timeline with this other podcast. So you will have weekly content from us, but 2 different podcasts. We're doing that basically because, well, we had the idea for what we wanted to do with the podcast. And as much as I would love to do Filling in the Gaps every week, there is the problem of, to prepare for an episode, we're talking about playing games that sometimes, for example, The Witness, I didn't even finish it, and I played like 27 hours, I think, before we made that episode.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time to put into something.
I mean, that's the thing as well. It's like we've got this kind of idea in our minds, or at least I do, where if I want to talk about something and really, if we're going to fill in gaps and make theories and come up with the full solutions, I just don't think it's right to talk about something that we haven't completed. And so, yeah, we do play everything to completion pretty much, apart from The Witness.
Movies, I typically watch at least twice.
So, yeah, they take time. We've got our regular kind of schedules as well to keep, and I don't know where I'm going with that, but that was
well, at this point, we are tentatively calling it Buyer's Remorse. That's what we want to go with. It's essentially us torturing each other with games that are sitting in our libraries that we've not touched yet.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. We basically commit to playing for 60 minutes, which is pretty much always manageable for us to do. And that should be coming out. So our first episode of Filling in the Gaps next year
is the 7th.
And that will be our episode on coherence.
Yeah.
And then the following week should be our first episode of Buyer's Remorse. So we should have a link to the channel or the page in the Filling in the Gaps episodes as well, so that you will be able to find them. With that being said, where would you like the podcast to be? Is there something that you use that we aren't on? I mean, we're currently on Stitcher, we're currently on SoundCloud, and we're currently on YouTube. Do you like those? Is there something else you really want us to be on? Let us know. This is especially true for the new podcast coming up, because we won't run it with the same RSS feed. It is essentially a different show. I personally don't like it when channels have kind of multiple shows that are very different on the same thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the main reasons to keep these separate entities is that filling in the gaps is very safe for work, but Buyer's Remorse is not safe for work.
Right.
So
we don't censor ourselves on that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't censor myself.
And also the content, some of the games that we've played are not exactly family friendly.
Yeah.
So we do kind of want to keep those two things separate. But let's talk about the Steam group.
Sure, yeah. Steam group, thank you guys. That's been a really interesting ride. We're up to over 100 people now in, I don't know how long it's been since it started. It's just been maybe 6 months, I think, something like that. And
I think around the time of our last update that we put out.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks to everyone who's a part of that group. We have some real hardcore kind of members who participate a lot, and we do a lot of giveaways on that group. Again, let me know in that group if there's something you would like to see, or if there's any changes that you'd like to see made. So we've given away a bunch of games. People have been really good about taking part in those. I know that
various levels of puzzles.
Various levels of difficulty as well. And that's good, because some of them work for some people, some of them are more difficult, but then other ones are easier for those people. It all depends on your skill set. But I know that some people would just prefer if we just gave away keys, like just put them on Steam giveaways, or just drop keys into the discussion things. But I don't know, I think a lot of people do that, and I enjoy making the puzzles, as long as people are trying to solve them, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'll keep doing that for a while. I've definitely got one big one planned for next year. And so if you're listening to this, you'll get the drop on this, and you'll know if you're interested in picking up Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Origins, and Batman Arkham City. Hint, hint, don't. There's going to be a big puzzle giveaway for that. It's not going to be easy, but what I was kind of hoping was that you guys could work together and say, well, I've got Arkham City, so I don't want that. I'd really want Arkham Origins. And then work with each other if you can get into like maybe some teams of people, because it's quite a big puzzle to solve with multiple kind of stages. And so if you can get a group together and then you can divide the games up between yourself, that's probably the best way to go about it, rather than trying to solve it all together. I don't know, it may be a bit too ambitious, and if it all falls flat, then I guess I'll just probably just give them away anyway. But we'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited about that, because it's definitely been over a month in the making. It's taken a while to put this together. And I'm probably talking too much about it, so I'll just shut up now.
We've also been doing Curator Reviews, which are essentially kind of Twitter-style reviews where they're very, very short. I think we're limited to about 250 characters or something like that. And as we record this, we're into the 80s, and your goal is to be to 100 pretty soon, right? 100
by the end of the year, so.
But we are trying to only do those reviews for things that we actually want to positively review. We don't really want to negatively review anything as curators.
I think we asked that on the group, and the general consensus was, I know what games are bad. It's like, I want to know what I should be buying, not... They don't need comedy bad reviews. That's what Buyer's Remorse is for.
Yes. As you will find out, dear listeners. If you have ideas for us, we've mentioned a few things that we would like a bit of feedback on, contact us. At this point, the best way is probably through our email, which is fillinginthe.gapspodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, I guess there is a messaging bit on YouTube, or, leave us comments in the YouTube videos or on SoundCloud. We'd love to get more comments. Likes are good too. I mean, basically, we're just glad that you're there. We're glad that you're listening. And we do, again, want to, I think it's kind of for us always reminding ourselves, but reminding you as well that we are not going away. So
sorry about that.
We've already started recording for next year. some of the things we have planned for early next year. As mentioned already, Coherence is going to be the first one that comes out on January 7th. We'll also be talking about the Turing test. Not so much the philosophical thing, but the actual video game. Turing test. We Were Here Too.
Yep.
Which if you were fans at all of We Were Here, then you'll definitely want to listen in on that one. And The Witness, which, spoiler, Justin's not a big fan of, but Darren loves. And we'll also be talking, well, mostly, Darren will be talking a lot about Steam trades, which is something he knows a lot more about than I do. Those are just the first few. We've got a schedule. Again, at this point, still the Steam group is probably the best place to see in the event calendar what the episodes are going to be that are coming out. But hopefully in the future we'll have a better system in place for that for people who maybe aren't in the Steam group. But that's it. We've done 1 year. We're planning on doing another for sure. And well, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's been great. Gaps filled and more gaps created.